Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Ryan Dins, and on this episode, I'm going to tell you how I raised my credit score 72 points in only 8 months. But before we do that, you're going to want to hit that like and subscribe button so you get these knowledge gems every single week. Let's go! Woo! In October of last year, I had a very bad credit score. Not terrible, but not what I used to be because I was always in the 700s. And my credit score at the time was 679. Now you might say to yourself, well, that's not that bad. Yes, however, I have been in the 700s for about the past decade, even though, if you've seen some of my past videos, I had $70,000 worth of debt. I had money problems. But when I have debt, I don't just go not paying my credit card bills. Whenever I have debt, whenever I had problems in the past, I would always pay my credit card on time, multiple credit cards on time. I would always do what needed to be done. So the reason my credit score dropped from the usual 700s it was in, at one point I was in the very high 7s. I think I was at like 798 because I remember trying to break 800, but I never quite did. But yeah, I basically fell into debt a couple years ago. To really sum up how I got out of debt is I just brutally attacked my credit card debt. I have another video that shows how I got out of 70,000 debt, and now I have mid 5 figures of net worth, all in about a year. So I basically went from negative 70K net worth to mid 5 figures. So I basically raised my net worth by about $100,000, a little bit more than $100,000 in under a year. That was through hustling, through working hard, and just doing what I needed to do to get myself out of debt. You know, I had problems in the past. A few years ago, I had depression, I had an alcohol addiction. You know, I was living in New Jersey with a low-paying job. Basically one day I just snapped and changed my life around, and I moved out here to California. Got a really competitive marketing job. I was doing very well at that. I received a raise. I had other sources of income because, you know, you never want to just rely on one source of income. That's why I talk about dividend stocks. I don't do real estate at the time, but I have sold a real estate property for almost $100,000 in profit. So I have had my ups and downs, but I've just been on a roll in the past couple years. And what I did was I systematically attacked my credit card debt. Now, what you want to do if you have heavy credit card debt, now let's say you have $70,000 worth of credit card debt, hypothetically. This is kind of the situation that I was in, and I'm going to explain what I did. I had one credit card that was about $20,000 worth in debt. So what I did with that credit card was every time I got money, I brutally attacked that one credit card. Like pretty much every paycheck, I was putting at least $1,000 into it. There was at one point where I had some business thing come in and I made like $5 grand at once. I put the whole $5 grand in that. I just paid the minimums on the other ones. Once I got that one down, I started paying off other credit cards. And at the time I was barely investing because I wanted to get this credit card debt away. So you don't want to be investing too much if you got credit card debt, because you got to understand this simple concept. If you have a credit card, you're probably paying somewhere between 17 and 25% interest per year. That is absurd, because even a great investor is only going to make 10, maybe if you're really good, you'll make 20% in the market, but you can't even rely on that. So I would say if you're not a great investor, anybody could just make 10%. But why invest to get 10% a year when you're paying 20% in interest? It doesn't make sense. So you got to prioritize and get rid of that debt first. So once I got rid of that card, I went to the next card with the highest interest rate and the biggest amount. Then I had another card that had like $12,000, and then I had another one that had like $10,000, and I just kept systematically attacking them. And what I also did was I opened up 2 different credit cards with 0% APR interest rates. One of them was for a full 18 months, another one was for a year. I transferred a lot of that money over to them because when I was in my worst part of debt, I was experiencing about $700 that I had to pay just to interest a month, and that's brutal. You don't want to ever go through that in your life, so don't ever get to the situation where I was in. First of all, that's the first thing. But if you are in that situation, you can beat it, but you don't want to be paying that $700 interest. So what I did was I attacked the one credit card first, didn't transfer any of that because it was only $20,000, so I would pay, you know, $1 grand here, $2 grand here. I got rid of that debt in maybe 3 months. But the other credit cards, the $10,000 and the $12,000, I moved most of that over to the other credit cards so that by the time I paid off the first credit card, I was only paying like $200 worth of interest. So basically within 3 months, I went from paying $700 worth of interest to only about $200. And then as time went on, it got a lot better. And you might say, wow, that's a lot. It's like, yeah, I was making like almost 10 grand a month just hustling. So I was putting all of that towards credit card debt instead of trying to up my life. Like, I was being real smart about this. Like I said, I take responsibility for my bad actions. I'm very smart with money now. I'm very responsible. But I wasn't in the past. I made very bad decisions. I was basically a traveling rock star that was a drunk. You know, no real understanding of money. Just was, oh, everything will be cool. Just going crazy, being stupid with money. You know, going on vacations I couldn't afford. I'll throw it on a credit card, pay it off later. And I paid for that. I'll never do that again. But now I have absolutely $0 worth of credit card debt. Yes, you heard that right. $70,000 worth of debt last July. That's how much I had. Now I have $0 credit card debt. I got a mid-5-figure net worth and it's continually growing each month. I am on fire right now. Just to sum up, basically the point of this entire video, if you have a lot of credit card debt, you shouldn't be investing. I was still investing a little. Like, I was throwing like $400 towards my accounts just because I wanted to have a little bit of cushion just in case something went wrong. I'd have a little bit of savings and I could, at the end of the day, I say never touch your investments, but the investments were also my emergency cushion. But now I'm in a situation where I have no credit card debt, so whenever I get a paycheck, I don't throw $1,000 or $2,000 at credit cards. I throw that all in investments. So I'm not investing $400 anymore. I'm investing thousands every single month. And I'm trying to live below my means, and I'm trying not to be stupid with money because I want to reach $1 million net worth in 2 to 3 years. And you might say, well, how are you going to do that if you're not making that much money? Well, I got a YouTube channel, I got investments, I'm going to get into real estate. I am on fire. And I'm going to continue to work really hard to grow this net worth because I have strong goals and I'm big into manifesting. I wrote down on a piece of paper $7,777,777.77. That's how much money I'm going to have in 7 years from now. I'm going to continue to reach these goals and I'm going to reach my goals because ever since I started believing in myself, following my dreams, and doing what needs to be done and being responsible, everything has just been going great. It can for you too. You just have to really, truly believe that you can get anything you want in this world and not believe people who say that you can't. Because, you know, there's people out there that are billionaires. Well, how did they do it? Well, they believed in themselves. They followed their dreams. They made things happen. So, the first thing you need to do in order to achieve your dreams is get rid of debt because you can't really make any risky decisions while in debt. Like, you shouldn't open a business that's gonna be very risky if you have $70,000 debt. But say you have $70,000 in the bank. Okay, you open this risky business, it doesn't work out, you only lose $10K. And that's not a bad money decision, that is a calculated risk. Because you can take calculated risks. I'm not saying to not take calculated risks. I'm just saying be smart with your money. Don't buy new cars, don't buy new TVs, don't upgrade your apartment if you can't. The whole $5 latte thing, whatever. That's like negligible. It's just a small amount. But I think the bigger problem is people who lose like $1,000 in a night gambling. People who go on vacation and they could have got a $150 a night hotel room and they get a $500 hotel room because YOLO, you only live once. No. I can afford $1,000 hotel rooms if I really wanted to splurge, but why would I do that? I would rather put that in an investment account. I believe that every dollar I invest is going to be worth at least 10 times more in 30 years. That's a fact from compounding interest. So if I were to put $1 million away in a bank right now and not touch it, just leave it in these stocks to get 10% a year, I know that that $1 million is going to be worth $10 million. So if you go out to dinner one night and you spend $100, you got to look at it as that's $1,000 for you in 30 years. You just spent $1,000 on dinner. Ever since I started thinking that way, I stopped blowing money on stupid things this often. I'm just really trying to teach everybody this quick, systematic steps to increasing your net worth. And you don't have to make great money for this. Let's say you only made $2 grand a month and you could only put away $500 a month in investments. That's still going to be $6,000 a year. $6,000 compounded is going to be $60,000. So you have to look at it that way. It's going to be $60,000 every year that you're saving just by putting $6,000 away. Because like I said, it 10x's over 30 years. For anybody. You don't have to be smart. You just have to buy dividend stocks. That's if you just put it in the S&P. It's going to 10x your money in 30 years. It's proven. Look at the stock market. I'm not the only one saying this. This is very factual information. So that's all I got for you this week. You're going to want to make sure that you hit that like button and you hit that subscribe button, because I'm going to continue dropping gems. If you continue following my channel, I'm giving this information away for free right now. This is going to cost a lot more money when I make a course and do private coaching. But right now, I'm going to make all this information free, and I want you to have it, but I want you to focus on what I'm saying and practice these things, because it's very easy to grow wealth. I used to think it was difficult. It's not. You just got to know what you want and then do it. All right, and that's it.